Hello everybody, welcome back to my workshop, welcome back to my garage. In today's video, we're going to be getting the guitars into this shape right here. As you can see, we've got the necks glued in. And we've got some initial carving done on the bodies. So, let's make some sawdust. Here all I'm doing is just cutting out the front humbucker slot in the neck. When the neck goes in, that's right where the front humbucker is going to go, the neck position. So I'm just cutting that out on both necks right now. So in preparation for getting the necks glued into the bodies, what I want to do is I want to do a little bit of the carving work on the bodies and initial sanding before we do that. I want to take the sander and go around the edges and the back, make sure everything's sanded nice. I don't want to sand the front yet because I've still got my center reference line and everything on that, and I'll need that for installing the bridge and making sure I get the necks aligned on straight. But there's two differences that are going to be on these bodies. This one, guitar number one, it's just going to stay with the traditional roundover on the front. I'm not going to do any carving at all on the front. I am going to put a belly contour in it, and I'll do some carving here for neck access up on the higher frets. On that, both carving on the back and on the front, but for the most part the body's just going to have a traditional roundover on it. For body number two, this one's going to get a little bit more carving on it than the other one. I've got a little bit more work to do on the edges where it just had a little chip out at the top, and so I need to do some work on sanding that. That's why I want to get the sanding done first, and then it's also going to have more of a cutout here to where you'll see part of the Black Limba core body piece on the front where I file this down and round it over. And again, it's going to have a belly contour, and I'm also going to do this area here for hand access. And then once the necks are installed, that's when I'll do more carving on this neck heel area to get everything lined up. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to go through and hit it with the sander. First I'm going to go with the orbital sander, get the edges taken care of, and then I'll start hitting it with the files to start getting it filed and contoured the way I want it to go. So let's get rolling. And here I'm just going over sanding the bodies. I'm using 80 grit, and then I went to 220 grit on the edges and also on the back. This is actually body number two. I'm tracing out the contour for the belly carve. I'm just doing this by hand. And then I'm also kind of tracing out where I want the carve to be on the top for the forearm contour. Then I'm just going to use a combination of Japanese files and the Shinto rasp to carve this down. It was a bit tricky carving on the top because with that quilted maple top, the grain ran in all sorts of different directions. In one section it'd be running one direction, and then you go a quarter inch over and it'd be running in a completely different direction. So I did have to be careful not to get any tear out on the top. So I had to use a lot of the finer files and the finer side of the rasp. So this did take a while. This was probably about 5 hours worth of carving on this body, all told. But you can see it's taking a nice shape, coming through that maple on the top, coming down into the Black Limba on the back for the forearm contour. And I'm just doing a sharp edge bevel all the way around the rest of the body. Here I'm just kind of working on the belly carve. For body number one, it was more of a traditional style, so it's just doing a 3/8 inch roundover all the way around on the top of the guitar. And I did a 3/8 roundover on the back as well. And here I am just cutting in the belly contour. All right, just got done creating a lot of sawdust. So what I've got done, Got the bodies sanded down to 220, except for the tops. I'm going to leave that until after I finish, that way I don't lose my center line. But I've got my tummy, the belly carve into this one. I'm going to wait and do the neck heel and the upper fret access once I get the neck installed. But I've got nice round overs, everything on it, and nice and sanded smooth for that one. This one's got a bit more contouring on it. Beveled the edges a bit. Did a hard bevel all the way around on the sides, and then a steeper bevel here for a forearm contour, as well as a tummy carve on this one. And again, I'm going to wait until I get the necks installed to finish off the neck heel and the upper fret access. But this one again is also sanded down to 220, front and back, except for right on the top, where I want to make sure I keep my center line maintained so I can install the necks. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get the necks installed. Alright, so I'm getting ready to glue the necks in. I don't know if it's showing up very well in the camera or not, but what I've done is I've reestablished my center lines on my neck, at the top and the bottom of the fretboard, and I've still got my center line drawn in on the guitar. What I've got is a laser level, so I'm going to just dry fit and make sure everything's good on this. And what I want to do is make sure my center line lines up with everything. So what I've got now is I've got the center line of the guitar. The green laser light is coming straight down the center, hitting my center line on my top mark and aligning with my center line on the top, or on the bottom and the top of the fretboard. So what that means basically is that my neck is going to be nice and straight in there. So now that I've got that established, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and, now that I've done a dry fit on it, I'm going to go ahead and glue it up, put glue in it, and then get that neck in and get it clamped down. And I'll make sure as I'm doing it that I maintain this center line on there. But this is a really easy way to do it with the laser level. That way you can make sure that your neck is nice and straight, how it's supposed to be. And like I said, you can gauge it from the top all the way to the bottom, coming across the guitar. And just using some Titebond 3. I've used naphtha to clean everything up, to make sure that everything's clean and dry, and let it dry. I've done, like I said, I did the dry fit, and everything looked good from that. I'm going to keep the laser level on and spread this glue in here. The neck pocket was a nice fit on this. I'm not going to have, I'll have some squeeze out because I definitely want some. That makes sure that I've got glue in the joint and everything, but I don't want a ton just because, you know, the more I have, the more I have to clean up type thing. Alright, so I got the glue spread. Make sure I get it out of the way of my laser. There we go. That swelled up quite a bit from having that glue in there. That's why you don't want a super tight joint, because it swells. And you want to make sure that everything is good. Make sure I got it good and straight. Good. Everything's centered. And let's get it clamped up. This was a good fit on the neck pocket anyway, so when I did the templates, it was a good fit, so that helps too. That helps to make sure that it stayed in there nice and straight. And then I'm just going to get this squeeze out cleaned up, and then we'll get in with the other one, with the second guitar. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do the dry fit on the second one. And again, that's a good fit on the neck pocket, and that laser light goes right down through the center of the body and lines up on my index marks at the top and the bottom of the fretboard. This is such a critical stage, gluing your neck in, because once that's done, there's no coming back. So that's why it's important to make sure that everything is where it should be. It's nice having that laser level to where you can just level it right in there and line everything up to make sure it's good. There we go. There we go. Now just make sure everything is still where it should be. Make sure we're lined up on the top and the bottom. Top, bottom, right down the center of the guitar. So we're good there. So let's go ahead and get this one clamped in. So everything's glued in and ready to go. All right, it's the next day. We're gonna go ahead and unclamp these and see what it looks like. So as you can see, looks like everything went together nice. Very nice joint on that one, and like I said, I'm gonna be sculpting this area here and blending it in with the neck, so that'll be a nice smooth transition between the two. And then I'll also do some more sculpting in this area on this guitar. And this one's again the same, just a very nice joint on this. And again, I'll be smoothing all of this in to blend it in this heel and in this neck area here. But there we have it. So as you can see, we've made some great progress on both these guitars with the neck glued in, initial contouring on the bodies. We've got a little bit of work left to do, sanding on the top, but I'm going to wait until I get my bridge locations marked on that. That way I can sand it off and I don't have to worry about my center reference line anymore. I've also got to do the carving on the neck heel where that area joins up, and some carving for the fret access for those upper frets. During the video, I actually laid the guitars down and used a laser. All I did was got a cheap $50 cross-aligning laser from Lowe's. Put that on there. It gives a horizontal and a vertical line. It's a great way to line it up. You're ensured of a nice straight line on that. I did go back and check after I removed the clamps. Kind of late. I just laid the bodies back down, turned the laser back on and went across it. Nothing moved during the gluing process, so everything's straight. So we've got a great foundation for the guitars moving forward. Please, if you like what I've been doing, click like and subscribe. Keep track of what I'm doing. Post comments below if you'd like to see something done a little differently, or if you've got a suggestion on a way to move forward. I'd really like to hear your thoughts. Until next time, take care.